Today I want to talk about my favorite products of 2020. Now, 2020 means that really any product that I might consider has to have been released in 2020 or at the very end of 2019, if nothing else. So that rules out quite a few of the products that I've actually reviewed this year, because obviously I really need to have reviewed something for it to qualify as a product of the year. So even though I enthused about the Cambridge CX-NV2 network streamer, I called it an everyman streamer, it doesn't qualify this year because it came out, I think actually a couple of years ago. And then the DCS Bartok is not new, but I really love the new crossfeed feature that they've built into the internals so that when you're listening with headphones, you get more of a center image, a bit like loudspeakers. The Mola Tambaqui is a wonderful, wonderful DAC, but doesn't qualify because it wasn't released in 2020. And one of the most surprising finds for me this year were IsoAcoustics Gaia feet that I've screwed into the bottom of my loudspeaker stands to better isolate the speakers. Absolute tremendous improvement for a few $100. But again, these products aren't new. The 2 and the 3, I think the 2 came out last year and the 3 the year before that. One of them, I think it was the 2, won an ISA award last year. So in sort of narrowing down the field, I really want to give an honorable mention to a product that I've just received but haven't had time to review yet. And that's because the internals, the way it works, its feature set is extremely complicated. But I have been listening to it for the last few weeks. It's a DAC. It's a DAC that's been many times requested by people that I take a look at. It's not new. Well, actually, it's not a new product, but this version came out and was announced rather in December of last year. So it kind of does qualify. And that's the RME DAC FS. Who names these products, man? Anyway, this DAC is €1,000, got a headphone amplifier built in, and it is just tremendous. The sound out of it is it just sounds so right, so not so precise, and it's very transparent. And if I have to ding it slightly, the sound staging is a bit flat. But everything else is just so good. I've been listening to it for like the last 3 weeks. I bought one. I didn't ask RME or a PR company. I bought this. I took a punt. And it would almost be product of the year or one of my products of the year had I reviewed it. But I want to mention it. Just want to squeeze it into the dying weeks of 2020. Dying weeks, that's not really a good metaphor for 2020, is it? But yeah, it's been a pretty year, hasn't it, for everybody, I think. Now, we should also acknowledge that awards in general are a bit silly in some respects. Because, well, no, especially for the high end. Because if you're trying to nominate like best speaker under 100 grand, how do a group of writers come to a consensus? Because has that group of writers heard 5 contenders side by side and picked one? Very unlikely. It's not even likely that if one writer reviews one $80,000 pair of speakers, that they'll have another similarly priced pair of speakers just waiting there for comparisons. So the more expensive the gear, the more circumspect we should be about that awards assignation. But as we come down the price ladder, those awards gain in credibility because it's more likely that the person or persons giving the award have compared this particular product to similarly priced units. So for example, my first product of the year, this is not the product of the year, but one of my first, is the Rosson RAD-0 headphone. The RAD-0 are planar magnetic, and people who have followed Alex Rosson, their designer, over the years will know that He previously worked for Audiophile and then went to Shinola, and now he's doing his own thing with sort of almost like custom-made, multicolored ear shells that are done with this mix of colors. So no two pairs are the same. And then the headband and its sort of trimmings can also be customized. There would have been a review by now, but I'm doing it in tandem with Alessandro Cortini and John Tejada, and Alessandro has just been tied up with family stuff and he moved to a different country recently. So that is coming. We're going to do that in podcast form, but I've been listening to these headphones all year. And this headphone really speaks to the quality that I look for in products of the year. And that is that I just can't really criticize them for anything. They're not completely flawless. Like the RAD-0 is a heavy headphone, and normally I don't like heavy headphones, but it clamps just nicely. And there's nothing really that stands out. And for me, it takes all the best bits of the final D8000 and all the best bits of the Meze Empyrean and then mixes them up into one headphone. And I'm listening, every time I put them on, especially with this RME DAC, I'm just amazed. I just think this just sounds so spot on, so right. I've not heard every $3,000 headphone out there, but I've heard a few. I've heard enough of the top players to kind of go, yeah, this is something special. So that's my first pick for Product of the Year 2020. Next up, Plexamp. Now I made a video about this a few months ago and I don't think I really explained just how awesome this product is. So it's an app that runs on a phone or a tablet, but it's mainly used for a phone, as we'll see. And it talks to a Plex server. And you have to have the Plex Pass for that. It's about 120 euros for a lifetime. Now, let me explain the first world problem that I have with my phone and my music, right? I've got a 3 terabyte library set on that server up there, and Plex scans it. Now, I cannot take a micro SD card, connect it to that server, copy across all of the contents to the SD card, because SD cards aren't 3 terabytes, and then put that in my phone and then carry that around with me. And even if I could, I'd have to keep reinserting the SD card into the server, copy across all the new stuff that I've downloaded or ripped, and then take it out and then put it back in my phone or my DAP if I had one. It's just a fiddly process. I could get a 1 terabyte card and then try and copy everything across with the same fiddly process. But this time, if I wanted to get all of it onto the 1 terabyte card, I'd have to transcode all of it to a lossy format. Again, that's a fail for me. So what Plexamp allows me to do is temporarily download content from the Plex server to my phone over the air on the same wireless network. I don't need to connect anything to the server. And it stays on my phone in FLAC if I want it to, but of course I use FLAC because that's probably the best sounding format that I can use outside of the house. And then I can just take it out and then go out and about and listen to FLACs. I can stream things out in the street if I want to, but then when I'm done with that album, if I don't want to listen to it anymore, I can delete it and then download a few others. So it's not the fiddly process that the micro SD card way of doing things demands. So Plexamp makes offlining content, makes my main library portable. That's the key thing here. Plexamp makes an entire music library portable and accessible out of the house always. And I think it's absolutely tremendous. Next up for Product of the Year, or rather my third choice, but not my main choice, my third choice, is Tidal Connect. Now this only came out or was only announced recently. It's basically, it makes Tidal, the app on your phone or your tablet or your computer, behave like Spotify Connect. So you don't need any interim server. So I don't need my Plex server or my Roon server. I can just pull up something on the Tidal app and then select the streamer that I'm using in my rack or a pair of loudspeakers or whatever, and just nominate that as the destination. And then the stream comes from the cloud directly to that server, directly to that streamer or the speakers or whatever. So far, only a couple of manufacturers support this. KEF LS50 Wireless II, Lingdorf, Cambridge are coming on soon, so a name next year. Blue Sound are all over this already. So I think this is going to be big. I think it's great because it removes the server. People often ask me, John, how do I stream Tidal without a server? Tidal Connect is how you do it, because you just need the app on your phone or your tablet or your computer to stream Tidal to your hi-fi system, but without the stream traveling through the phone. This is the key part. The stream does not travel through the phone as it does with AirPlay or Bluetooth. And I think, again, that's tremendous. Using the word tremendous a lot today. Tremendous. Okay, this next product is my runner-up choice for Product of the Year 2020. And for me, it's a top-to-bottom flawless hi-fi system in a box. It's the KEF LS50 Wireless II. Now, as a reviewer, I would pick the LS50 Meta because I can work with that, I can review gear with it. But for most people, the LS50 Wireless II will probably be the better choice. And that speaks to one of the key facets of my job in assessing gear, is being able to think beyond my own needs and think about how this will relate to other people and what impact it will have upon them. Because all you have to do is plug in both speakers into the mains, and then you get KEF's all-new app that's been enabled by an all-new streaming board, which itself has been enabled by a far more powerful processor and essentially computer inside the speakers. Far more powerful than version 1 of the LS50 Wireless. So the second generation has a speedier platform which enables this more sophisticated technology on the board, and therefore has enabled KEF to redesign their app. So that integrates Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon HD, Deezer, then you get Chromecast, you get Spotify Connect, you get Roon. All bases are covered, like pretty much all bases, even Tidal Connect. It's just super easy to use, and it sounds fantastic, and you don't have to go through this seemingly, for many people, endless process of trying different amplifiers to find which one sounds best for the passive version. Here we use KEF's optimized version with an active crossover, which generally speaking, if you ask most loudspeaker engineers, is technically more proficient than a passive crossover. So I cannot fault the LS50 Wireless at all, really. I can't really think of anything that bugs me about it. Not even the price. If you buy this, you'd have to spend another grand, maybe $1.50 to better it. And that brings us to my product of the year 2020. And that product is the Buchardt A500, the stand mount loudspeaker that for me sounds better than the KEF LS50 Wireless II, as well it should, because it's well over $1,000 more, but it also does more because it gives us idiot-proof room correction, it gives us master tunings, we don't need to connect the speakers themselves to our Ethernet or Wi-Fi network. That duty is performed by the streaming hub that then talks the speakers using WISA. And if you've no idea what I've just said, then you need to check the review video that I made about these Buchardt loudspeakers. And I've also made a review video about the KEFs, and also about Plexamp, and also about Tidal Connect, although there's no video about the Rosson RAD-0 headphones. And all of those videos will be linked down below. So congratulations to Buchardt for knocking it out of the park this year. In fact, as I said in my original video, the A500 are probably one of the best products I've ever reviewed in 10 years of doing this job. Anyway, here's to 2021 being better than this year. Let's hope so, fingers crossed, or Daumen drücken, as they say in Germany. They talk about thumbs in German. Daumen drücken, Daumen being thumbs pressed, right? So fingers crossed that next year is better. If you like this video, please smash the like button. If you like this channel, please consider subscribing. And as always, thank you ever so much for watching.